vice versa. This presentation is particularly for the AICTE Prerna scheme for the students who are preparing for their higher education, especially for the SCST. This is a scheme that is in association with Madanapalli Institute of Technology and Science, Andhra Pradesh. We are doing this particular content. So my topic is operating system, and before that I wish to introduce myself. I am Dr. S. Padma, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Technology at Madanapalli Institute of Technology and Science, Andhra Pradesh. So with this short note, I would like to move over to the topic. So far I have given several topics related to operating system, one as a process and the deadlock, like that and all. Today, in this particular videos, I am going to share my knowledge related to inter-process communication, which is considered to be an essential. Okay, is also possible nowadays. Okay, so on receiving that particular message, Q may be sending the acknowledgement. That is also accepted, because usually we go in for bidirectional, because once we are receiving, once I am sending a value to a function, it will return some value. So automatically, if it is unidirectional, it is not showing much importance when compared to bidirectional. Next thing is indirect communication, how we are going to execute this. As we have seen earlier, the messages are stored in the mailboxes and they are supposed to called as ports. Each representation, that is each ports, is having a separate unique ID, and whenever the process are ready for communication, the mailbox will be shared. So this is the thing. So here also there are some important properties related to this communication link that we must be very careful to see. Okay, so the link will be established to all the process, not directly. So they will be concentrating on the mailbox. Okay, and also n number of processes are there, n number of processes are connected to the mailbox, and each process may have other communication also between the other process or whatever it may be. And here also the same thing, it depends upon the need whether it must be either bidirectional or unidirectional. Okay, what happens, you can see. So initial operations, there are several operations. First we have to create a mailbox, and after that send and receive must be there, and after everything is over, we have to destroy the mailbox. Okay, so what is the thing, how the syntax of the send as well as receiver is changed when we are dealing with indirect communication. When we are dealing here, we are not completely focused towards the receiver. Okay, instead of that, we are focusing towards the mailbox. So the mailbox identity is represented in the address of the receiver. So send a comma message, a is nothing but the mailbox. So in the receiving end also, mailbox is receiving, not the exact process. From the mailbox only, the receiver is receiving, taking the message. Okay, so here what happens with this sharing? Here we have shared an example, that is three process P1, P2, P3 are sharing a mailbox A. Okay, so P1 is sending, P2 and P3 are ready to receive the message. Who gets the message? Only P1 is sending. Okay, so how this thing happens, whether multiple copies are sent or what happens here? Okay, so then what happens, in order to overcome this particular disadvantage, a link must be given. Link must be associated with at most two processes. Okay, during this time, what happens here, we have to maintain, that is only one process has to be communicate, or one process may be able to receive this message at the same time. Okay, and multitasking or multiple receiving at the same time is not possible here. Okay, then who is going to select? The receiver. For example, P1 has to select whether I am passing this message to P3 or P2, and also it has to be notified to process P1 who is receiving this message. This is even though we are comfortable with indirect communication, we are having some questions which has to be which are already solved. Okay, so again we are going to see about mailboxes and ports. Initially we have seen between message queue and ports. Now we are discussing about mailboxes and ports. Okay, when we are dealing with mailbox, we can create process that is sharing of messages can be done, and afterwards we can delete the mailbox. So the mailbox may be either private for particularly that sender as well as receiver. You can see in this image there are n number of processes who are doing the sending activities, and also n number of receivers are there. Same mailbox is used for all the n number of processes to receive. So several senders, several receivers, and there will be sharing of messages, everything will be there. Here you can see in the example of the port is also somewhat looking as a mailbox, but one important difference between them is there are n number of senders but only one receiver. Okay, this is especially, that is the port structure is especially used for client server application, where the receiver is the server. So we are focusing all the network contents or all the network accessing, all the clients are accessing only the server and receiving messages from the server. So this is the things, and it has to be considered as an important difference between the mailbox as well as port. Okay, so who will be the ownership of all the ports as well as mailboxes? A port is nothing but it is also used to store the messages, and it is created by the receiving process. That is, as per our previous example, it is created by the server, and also when the server is switched off, automatically the port will be removed. This is one thing. Here what happens related to the mailbox, the operating system plays its role to create a mailbox on behalf of the process, and it becomes the owner. Okay, so afterwards, once my communication is over, automatically what happens, it will terminates and destroys the mailbox. So here when we are dealing with port, it is taken in the hands of the server. When we are that is server, in other terms the receiver. But when we are dealing about mailboxes, it is taken in the hands of the operating system to create as well as terminate or destroy the mailboxes. So without mutual exclusion, synchronization, or whatever it may be, it is not possible to continue this particular topic. Okay, so we want to discuss something related to mutual exclusion while message passing is done. Okay, here we are creating, let us assume we are creating a mailbox, that is mutex. Okay, so mailbox in the sense there are n number of senders as well as n number of receivers will be there. Okay, sender is non-blocking and receiver is blocked when that mailbox is empty. When there are no messages in the mailbox, the receivers are blocked. Okay, initialization, how we are initializing? So sender is sending a message, mutex go, that is the operator is sending messages to the operating system, and seeing this, the operating system creates a mailbox. So the first one who executes, that is it has to be started, will be blocked until the messages are received. Okay, so see here, so the sample code is given. So process PI, what happens, it is supposed to send a message, so it is ready to receive message from the mailbox. So the receive is happened. So after that what happens, we are sending some representations, that is CS. Okay, then after that the sender is sending some message and it is received, and this process communication. Okay, so during this particular communication, for example P1 process and Q1 receiver are communicating, the others will be blocked during this communication. Okay, so one more interesting content related to this message passing is bounded buffer. Okay, so when we are dealing with bounded buffer, so there will be some limit and based on that the buffer will be developed. So what happens here, the producer, I think you might have remember about the producer consumer problem. We are going to deal with that problem in order to explain about the concept of bounded buffer. So the producer, it places several items, okay, and within the mailbox it is it is placed, and the consumer, whoever is in need of this components, they may be getting this, may consume. Okay, so here what happens, may consume is nothing but the mailbox which is created in this example, and it is our buffer. So what happens, the consumer is ready to consume, and what as represented earlier, when the mailbox is having messages, then only the consumer may be have the opportunity to collect, to receive the message. If the mailbox is empty, automatically all the receivers will be blocked. So the mailbox we are having, the may produce is filled, okay, with limited size of buffer. So it started to fill. Okay, so what happens when the size is filled? We are dealing with the two mailboxes. You might have seen the different names, may consume as well as may produce. May produce with k null messages. K is the buffer size. Okay, so what happens, the size of the mailbox may produce is getting lesser and lesser when the consumer, when it is consumed. Okay, automatically what happens, it will be reduced. So this particular solution will tries to help multiple producers as well as consumers. So multiple producers will be there as well as multiple consumers will be there, as we are trying to maintain two different mailboxes. So here is the best example, the sample code is given. So they have given different codes for producer as well as consumer. So we are creating my mailbox, and we have started to produce, the producer started to produce message. Okay, so every message that is given, when it is started, automatically what happens, they are ready for consuming. Okay, so the mailbox is filled. So automatically what happens, so initially it is receiving, so may produce, and after that it is producing, and it is sending. Okay, so here the consumer, what happens, it receives, that is what are the things that are ready for consumption, that is received, and the consumption is done, and afterwards it is executing until what happens, until there is some reduction, until it reaches null, this process is continued. Okay, so the consumer is getting messages, that is the receiver end is getting messages from the sender until the entire mailbox becomes null. This is a thing. Okay, so again now we are having some more representations related to that. So we are defining the buffer size, that is n to 100. Okay, and we are having two different things, one is the integer value and the next one is the messages m. So we have started to generate something which is to be held in that buffer. We have mentioned the size. So after holding that, automatically the consumer is receiving, and it is ready to construct a message. After receiving that, it has to do something, and finally it is sent by the consumer, that is receiving it, it is building some message, and afterward it is sending that particular message to the consumer. This is a process. It happens because we are mentioning the size, and this particular problem is considered to be the best example for message passing. And also one more thing here, the same thing, okay, the same n, so all the n are empties, consider like that, and what happens, the mailbox is considered to be empty, and one after giving some messages, it is trying to extract each and everything until it becomes empty. So this is the thing. Okay, so when we are dealing with interprocess communication, here we have represented some examples related to this, how we can give the shared memory. What are the examples? So what happens, first initially the process has to create a shared memory segment. So the code is given here. It is for example, not for too much concentrations has to be given there. You can understand the concepts so that it can be very clear. So after creating the shared memory segment, so what are the things process wants to access related to that, and the process will be trying to write on the shared memory. When the writing is overdone, and automatically the receivers will be receiving the message, and everything is completed, it will try to delete the contents. Okay, the contents will be removed from that. So this is an example for this, and we are going for an example for this IPC systems in Mac OS. So this is completely message based. Even the system calls are messages. So normally there will be two mailboxes here. One is mentioned as a kernel, and next one is a notify. Okay, so there will be three representations. One is the send, receive, and the next one is RPC. RPC nothing but remote procedure call. So the mailboxes needed communication through port allocate. So this is a thing what has happened in the Mac OS. When dealing with Windows XP, so here we are using different methodologies. So we are analyzing or comparing the different operating systems, how this IPC has been executed. Okay, so here it works between process on the same system. So internal as well as external is also done, and here they are using ports to establish as well as to make the communication good. How the communication is done? So normally when we are going for ports, we know the client server configuration is good here. Okay, it is opening a communication connection using the port, and a request will be sent to the by the client. The server will receive the request, and based on that it tries to handle the client. So there will be some communications between the client as well as server or callbacks, and the client will receive the replies from the server for the complete execution. Okay, so this is how the local procedure called taken place, which is represented in a diagrammatic content. Okay, so the left side is the client, right side is the server. A connection is established initially, and after that the client communication is sending, that is you can see both are bidirectional. Okay, so there will be communication between the server as well as the client using this port, and also a shared section is given so that the messages can be shared or the comments can be shared among the client as well as the server. Okay, so whether inter-process communication, that is IPC, is complicated, internal as well as external. There are some variations. When we are dealing with an internal system, it is quite different. When we are dealing with some other like client server configurations, we have to concentrate on some other contents, some other mechanisms. Okay, so we are going to see how the communications between client and server systems are happen. So with these mechanisms, they are going to handle, one is the pipes, then sockets, especially through internet, and the next is RPC, and also RMI, that is remote method invocation using Java. So by means of this, there is a very good interaction or a very good communication between the client as well as the server. The first and the initial thing is the pipes. So we have seen some examples or some comparisons previously, and as represented earlier, it is to allow communication among two processes. Whether there are some any problems with that, yes, definitely there will be some pros as well as cons in each and every methodology. So only we are going for some advanced technology. Here also there are some issues. One thing is whether the communication must be unidirectional or bidirectional. Okay, again within that, again some more questions. If it is bidirectional, whether it must be half duplex or full duplex. Okay, then finalizing this communication method, what could be the relationship between the parent as well as child, and also whether this pipe communication can be used for the networks. So these are some of the issues which we are facing when we are going for the pipes. It is nothing but the two-way communication. Okay, so dealing with this, we have to go through about the ordinary pipes. So the ordinary pipes, it normally allows the producer consumer style. It follows that style. For example, the producer, it will be writing at one end of the pipe, and the consumer will be reading from the other end. This is normally done, and these pipes are unidirectional because the writing work is done by the producer, reading work is done by the consumer. So there is no opposite direction. So, and it requires some relationship between the parent and the child. Producer is considered as a parent and consumer is a child. So this is the thing. So see, this is the pipe. We have seen given an example between the parent as well as the child. What happens here? So we are writing here, and it is read by the child. Okay, so the parent is writing at one end, where it is read by the child at the other end. That is ordinary pipes, and now we are moving to the named pipes. So it is comparatively more powerful than the ordinary pipes, and here the communication is bidirectional. But one thing they are very much concerned about is there is no need for parent-child relationship between this communicating process, and several process can be used to the named pipe communication. And this particular mechanism is provided in both Unix as well as Windows systems. Next thing is sockets. So the next mechanism when we are dealing with sockets, especially for internet communication, we will be using, that is endpoint communication, and also it is used to concatenate the IP address and the port. So this is the one thing. So the socket, for example, if it is representing an address like this, where refers to the port is also represented as well as the host address is also represented. We can easily segregate the IP address from among the port address. So this communication is between two pairs of sockets. Two sockets are communicating, not the other components. So this is how, for example, we are accessing some other servers or Google or Gmail, whatever it may be. So this is our host, and we will be connected with the port also. And when we are seeing the web server also, the IP address along with the port address will be added, that socket will be added. So two sockets are communicating instead of the systems. Next thing is the remote procedure call. That is, it is nothing but a local procedure between a network system. Okay, here we are using a component called stubs. This is nothing but clubs are some procedures, okay, which can be considered to be as proxy for the client side, and also make proxies in the existing server. Okay, so this client side stubs, they will try to identify the server and take over the parameters that are required. And the server side stub, again there will be some replica. It receives the message and unpack whatever the values that are received and performs the execution. That is, the client is sending some parameters for execution that will be released or opened and executed in the server, and vice versa. Both are happened in the opposite direction also, and hence it is said to be as bidirectional, and here we are using the stub concept. So this is a remote procedure call mechanism. So what happens here? So you can see the client application, and also the local application on the operating system. The stubs are there, and here on the right side we are having server. There are also local stub, some replica is there. And what happened here, for their local response, they are dealing with the local stub and execution. Whenever there is a need for communicating with the server, automatically they will be sending some call, and it is reflected in the local stub, and necessary conditions will be taken. That is, unpacking will be there, and after that it will be sent to the server, and the response will be cleared, and finally it is forwarded to the client application. This is the mechanism what has happened here, and in this way we are supposed to communicate using the remote procedure mechanism. Again, we are having one more beautiful representations related to this RPC execution. that is the user calls or user is calling the kernel to send a remote procedure message to the procedure X. So the kernel is sending and it is finding the port number. So here the message, you can see the content from whom it is coming, from the client to the server. What is the thing? We have to identify some content that is in X. So in the server it is done, and afterwards it is replying the client. Okay, this process has been done, and again the client is sending some message. Okay, so this is done. What about the next, or what are the contents that are required? So again the client server is responding and it is sending some output. So in this manner the procedure calls are forwarded between the client as well as servers in sort of the message. Okay, so next thing is remote method invocation. This is a Java mechanism and almost similar to RPC what we have seen. So what this execution is done is the Java program will be trying to call a method on a remote object. Okay, to JVM, to Java virtual machine will be there, and if necessary they will try, using the program they will be trying to call the remote object. This is one sort of mechanism. How this particular thing is done? See what has happened here. Here this particular example is for the stubs. Okay, so here we are having client as well as this server. As we told, some parameters are passed. With that parameter passing, they are trying to execute. This is a stub and this is a skeleton, both the client as well as server. So instead of server, what happens here, we are using the remote object. Here the skeleton will be there. So here I am sending value is equal to, I am calling that particular method. Here the abstract will be here, the execution will be done and it will be getting the value. This is the thing, and it is said to be as marshalling or unmarshalling the parameters. Okay, what are the some other mechanisms that are related to IPC when we are dealing with Windows? Why I have specified more common to the Windows is because almost all the systems what we are using nowadays, we are dealing with Windows different versions. Okay, so that is clipboard copying, where we are trying to copy, taking the screenshots using the snipping tool, whatever it may be, it is having some copy and we are storing. But that also we need some buffer, some interprocess communication. It is waiting. So this particular thing is waiting. For example, when I am taking some copy contents of my screen using snipping tool, what happens, I have taken the screenshot. Okay, it has to be pasted. Until that particular content is over, until I am doing it with the receiver, the sender is blocked here, because when I am going for some other copying, automatically this will be deleted. This is the thing. Then next thing is data copy. Normal copy concepts, you can select any contents, we are giving control A and copying it in the clipboard and using this. Then also what are the other mechanisms is DD, data exchange is also done, and also mapping of files in between the client communications as well as within the system also, and mail slots, how the communication is done using the mail blocks, and what are the things that are happened within the content. Everything is related to the inter-process communication, because whenever we are speaking about this, all the contents that are listed here, it is not going to deal with the individual process, it is about to deal with multiple process only. And pipes, where the data, where the messages are stored and the executions are done. How to call the servers or to activate using remote procedures along with the parameters as well as retrieving the answers. Next thing is sockets, that is accessing the internet by means of the IP address as well as the port address, so that we will be getting the port IP address as well as the port address as a reverse process, so from where we are segregating this content like that and all. So these are some of the best IPC mechanisms which are used in Windows. So before concluding my presentation, I have to thank all the people who are listed here, because I have taken more references from these four representation. Initially I had to thank these two people for the entire contents. Okay, and also I have referred these web pages for getting more information related to this IPC, which was helpful for me to learn more about IPC and to deliver the contents exactly. So thank you very much for your patience listening. All the best for your examinations to be held. Thank you one and all. And I'm in this situation, I have to represent my gratitude to the management and the coordinator of this scheme, and also to AICTE for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my views related to um, this inter-process communication, especially for the students who are getting ready for the higher education. Thank you and wish you all the